Yeah, we're excited to have our legislative breakfast as well this morning. Senator Marlatt is here, and we're also happy to have Brianna, where did she go? Brianna Dominique with Congressman Lucas's office with us this morning. Senator Marlatt, would you like to kick things off for us? Thank you.
Maybe Brianna would go first.
Nope, it's all you.
Well, thank you guys very much. This is a great facility. I'm here frequently, and spend a lot of Saturdays at Gambino's as well. I'm here every Saturday for basketball games. So, and I hope they don't change them. When we were campaigning, we would come to Alva and knock doors, and we would always go by the McDonald's on the way home, because I don't know if they were over-serving or what, but they would stack the ice cream on top of the cone about this. And so this was the best ice cream McDonald's in Oklahoma. I hope they haven't changed that. But anyway, we're in our second week. Representative Hickman is not far out. He's on his way. I talked to him earlier, but we're in our second week out, and things have taken off. We're just doing a lot of committee work, not a lot of floor activity right now, but that'll start ramping up probably a little bit next week, and then the following week we'll really start having to get caught up and hit the deadlines as things come out of committees and onto the floor. Just a couple of things I want to touch on. We had obviously this week was higher ed. We had a higher ed day. We had representatives from Northwestern Alva, Northwestern Woodward. Was he? I didn't think they were there. And it's always great to have the students from your area come up and get to visit with you, and for them to get to see the Capitol and things like that. So we appreciate you guys making the trip. I know it's not always the most convenient, particularly when there's 4 or 5 inches of snow on the ground. So anyway, we appreciate that, and it's good to have them. We also had a lot of the county elected officials up there. This was what did you guys have going this week? CODA was this week, so all the county elected officials were there, and it's great to see you guys, and they're definitely pretty good about voicing their opinions and concerns, so we appreciate that. A couple of deals that probably one of the biggest driving forces of this session, or one of the biggest headlines you're going to see, is the workers' comp bill. There's going to be a workers' comp bill. The language has not been dropped yet, but we'll vote on it next week in the Senate. It'll drop. The language will drop Monday, and it tries to move the. Hi, Janice. What it does, it moves the workers' comp system, tries to take it out of the courts and do what it's intended to do, and get the employees the services that they need, get them back in the workforce as quickly as possible, and not tie up their resources and everybody else's resources going through a bunch of court proceedings where they're paying part of their awards to attorneys and dragging things out when they're ready to go back to work. So that's going to be a big deal. They're anticipating this could be 20 to 25% cut in what it would cost to carry workers' comp. This could be one of the biggest economic development tools that we had that we've seen in the state of Oklahoma in the last several years. When you talk to businesses out of state and in state, their number one concern in Oklahoma is the cost of workers' comp. When the governor did a survey to all the businesses in the state of Oklahoma, the number one concern that they had, the number one issue they wanted tackled, regardless of what you may have seen last year and the talks this year, was not about the state income tax. It was about workers' comp. So addressing the workers' comp system would do a tremendous amount for our businesses and for our economic development tools in the state. Along with economic development and with some of the issues that we have in northwest Oklahoma, is housing. I know that right now it's not hard to get a house here or in Cherokee or anything like that, if you're willing to pay a fortune for it. But that is a huge issue, and it's not going away, regardless of what's going on up here as far as the misaligned play. We needed housing before that started, and it's something we need to address. I've got a bill up this year that we got out of the House, or got out of the Senate last year. It died in the House. That Representative Dale DeWitt was floor leader and didn't want to hear the bill the last week of session. But Representative Hickman was the House author last year. We're running that bill again this year, and what it does, it mirrors the tax credits that the federal government does to the state of Oklahoma for housing development. The goal is to try to get builders into rural areas. It puts a cap on the tax credit at $9.2 million a year that can be used. So once that's used up, we know exactly what the fiscal impact is going to be. Once that's used up, there's no more credits available until the following year. But the goal is to get builders and developers into the communities that they're not currently interested in going to, and this was modeled after what Missouri did after the Joplin tornadoes, and that's how we ended up doing it last year. Is following the tornado, we saw an opportunity to try to do something, and since it failed, we're going to go ahead and do it again this year. It's got a lot of support on both sides of the chamber, and I fully anticipate that we'll be successful in getting that passed this year. Another thing that you've probably seen a lot on, and in light of what happened with the school shooting, is school safety, gun bills. We've got them all. Some of them may start with issuing a gun to every kindergartner as they go to school. It's not quite that extreme, but it's pretty close. And I'm a pro Second Amendment. I think we ought to have the right to bear arms. However, I will say, and some people don't like it when I say this, I think it's a really bad idea for teachers to have all teachers be able to carry guns in school. I don't get that very often. I got beat up last time. It's just I really don't think I'd even send my kid to a school that did that. There's so many things that can happen. Teach just going through a concealed carry class and then saying, here, you can go carry a gun in the school to protect yourself. Well, first off, I would have gotten shot by my teacher when I was in school. Second off, there's so many things. I can give you a list of 100 that could happen that are not good by doing that. However, if we come up with something reasonable, if you got one designated person in the district that goes through the cleat certification and the school board deems them that they need to carry that weapon, then that may be a little different. But just having carte blanche to where any teacher can get a concealed carry and carry a gun, I think is a really bad idea. But I don't think you're going to see anything on guns until we get this report from the School Safety Commission, which is supposed to be out in March. The Speaker and the Pro Tem of the Senate put together a commission. It's headed up by Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb, who served in the Secret Service, and they're bringing a coalition of folks together to come up with something that's reasonable for school safety. We've committed that we're not going to do anything until we know what that commission. Now, there may be some bills out there that we have to keep alive for the deadlines so that we know what we want to do, but we're not going to do anything as far as agenda-wise until we know what that commission recommends. So I think it's prudent to do something like that as opposed to just start rolling out bills that are irresponsible, as far as I'm concerned. As far as school funding, there's a lot of people who are looking at the formula trying to change the formula. There's a couple of things that are out there. There's a gamut of things, but two things that one thing we voted on in the appropriations committee this last week on school funding, and I voted for it, had to do with the lottery. Right now, the lottery dollars go into the formula, and then they're dispersed to the schools that are part of that formula. Well, a lot of the schools in my district, in Representative Hickman's district, are either very on the formula in very small portions, or they're not even on the formula because they have a high enough ad valorem base that they don't receive any. So therefore, they don't receive any of the lottery dollars. The bill that we voted on takes the lottery dollars out of the formula, and it says, all right, this is going to be assigned to each student. So if Alva has 700 students, I don't know how many they have exactly, they're going to get an apportionment based on their students. It's going to be tied to each student, as opposed to if they have a strong enough tax base that they're not a part of the formula, they don't receive any of it. That was sold to be for the students, and we think it needs to be tied to the students. There's also a bill out that was on the agenda but didn't get heard. They laid it over. I'm anticipating that we'll hear it next week, but in the formula it changes the weight on how many dollars are given to the number of students in your school district, and it gives a stronger weight to school districts who have a larger area. And I think the thought process on this is in Western Oklahoma, we've done a great job of consolidating our schools the way we need to see fit. Everybody agrees, and the majority of the people that I talk to, even from Oklahoma City and Tulsa, when they look at how Western Oklahoma has done voluntary consolidation, that we can't really consolidate anymore. Our school districts are large enough. Consolidating more would cause longer days at school, longer days on the bus. It would be very, very difficult to manage. This says there's a lot of schools in the eastern part of the state who are 7-8 miles apart, these school districts. The thought process behind this is it would help convince a lot of those school districts that maybe they need to look at what we've done and help them to voluntary consolidate. I think that bill will get a hearing next week. I think it'll get out of committee. I don't know how far it's really going to get, but I think it's good that we're discussing that. See if there's anything else. I think that's covers about everything as far as the major issues that we got. I ran a bill this last week in the insurance committee. It has to do with interlocal agreements. A lot of times municipalities or school districts will enter into an interlocal agreement to get their insurance for their property and liability. These interlocal companies do not report. They're not regulated by the insurance commission, and for the most part, those agreements work. For the most part, the companies that are doing it are really good companies, but there's no reporting mechanism. Some of them do report voluntarily. The ones that I think are solvent are reporting voluntarily, but some of them refuse to report how they're capitalized. And I ran a bill that just said, hey, listen, if we've got if the school districts are entered into a interlocal agreement to insure their property, then those companies need to have an audit and just present it. I'm not asking that they be regulated. I'm just saying present it to the insurance commission so that the school districts, the people that they're insuring can see that they're properly capitalized, and that if there is a devastating loss, that they have the resources there, that they're reinsured, that they can cover the losses that are there. I don't know. I can't think of anybody who would say, yes, we want to insure public property, and we don't really care to see that the people that are providing the insurance are solvent or capitalized or are reinsuring. So it's really kind of an easy deal. I did get a phone call from some superintendents that are concerned about it, and I think I guess I don't understand their thought process of why they would be concerned about it. I would think that they would be concerned that a company doesn't want to show how they're capitalized, that they're buying insurance from. So that is I think a pretty important bill. I think the school boards ought to be able to see before they purchase their insurance that the people that they're paying can cover their losses. But with that, I'll open it up for questions. Alex?
With all the publicity regarding Canton, what's coming down the pike as far as water conservation?
Well, it's funny. We I don't know if you guys have seen the press releases and things like that, but I started beating up on them pretty bad. And Representative Hickman went to a Oklahoma City chamber lunch one day. I didn't get to go, and they opened it up for questions, and Representative Hickman asked, so when he gets here, you need to say something.
Oh, I'm right behind you.
Oh!
Watch your back.
This is good. Well,
I did. Story. I want you to tell it.
Representative Hickman asked, he says, I've got a question. You know, you've got the deal at Canton. We're getting on how you guys are doing conservation practices. What, did you even get to finish the question? I think they thought he was issuing the press releases because, according to my sources, there was a very vocal exchange, and they really got after each other. And so anyway, he called me later and he said, "Hey, thanks a lot. I just got my butt kicked in there." He said, "I'm the only rural guy there, and he's taking on all the Oklahoma City leaders on this deal." So I met with the city manager on Thursday morning. We had a breakfast, and you know that was part of what I wanted to know. I said, "Listen, you know, we talked to you guys about the water issues and taking Canton Lake water, and all you guys want to say is it's our water. You know, we paid for it. We have the rights to that." And I said, "Guys, none of us are disputing that fact. It is your water by rights. You know, we're not saying you can't take it. We're just saying let's be good neighbors. Let's be responsible about how we're doing it. And we want to know that you're conserving water properly, you know, before you're starting to take our lake. And you know, not just for our sake, but for the people in Oklahoma City. We're in a 3-year drought. This is what I said. We're in a 3-year drought. You guys are now going into odd even rationing days in the dead of winter, and you're depleting Canton Lake down to the inactive pool where you're not going to be able to take anymore. So if we don't have anything that charges that lake, if you don't have anything that charges Hefner, and this drought continues for a couple of years, where are you going to get your water? What are you going to do?" And they would just say, "Well, it's our water." And I'd say, okay, we agree. But I sat down with the city manager. He's sending me a list of all the things that they're going to start doing. They are going to start getting more strict on their rationing. They're going to be raising prices on people who consume over a certain amount. They're going to up the amount of water that they're bringing from southeast Oklahoma and stop taking as much from northwest, which they don't really have a choice. But they did, and that's one thing that, you know, we didn't know this, but they've been doing that for a while. They've been getting 60% of their water from southeast as opposed to northwest, but they failed to ever communicate that with us. So it's a devastating deal, really. As far as, I mean, it's a private contract that they've got. There's not really anything we can do except for try to encourage them to be good stewards, to manage properly, and to think about how it affects our local communities, how it affects our tourism, and not just be taking it to float their boats and their sailboats in Hefner. They said that was not at all about floating the boats. However, the day after the water started hitting Hefner Lake, the headlines were the boats may be out of the mud by the end of the week. Is basically, and they had one small paragraph on drinking water, and the rest of it was focused around the sailboats. So it's a really, really tough deal. But we're in a, I don't think we've ever seen conditions this severe. So we're trying our best. Legally, they have the right to take that down to that inactive rule, which they're going to be really close to by the time this is finished. How'd you sneak in?
Back door. You always know where the back door is.
I guess so. Any questions of me, or I'll
Can you touch on base on local rights, the House bill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's matter of fact. I've had some meetings with the governor's office over this. They've got a bill up Monday in general government, which I sit on, so I'll get to vote on this. And it has to do with the smoking bill, giving the local rights to the communities to decide if they want to be a non-smoking community. People are all over the board on this. Have Republican and Democrat alike. They're one way or the other. I tend, and I think Representative Hickman and I are on opposite pages on this as well. I tend to think that it doesn't. To me, it's a personal property issue. If it's the federal government telling you what you can do on your private property, or if it's the city government telling you what you can do on your private property, I don't agree with it. And my argument with the governor's office is it's a lot more palatable to me if it's really local rights is what they're arguing. Then let's give them local rights. If the community wants to go non-smoking, then they can go non-smoking. If the community wants to say our businesses are open for smoking, then that should be that business's decision, that community's decision. If we're going to go local rights, we got to go all the way, I think. And I think that the governor's office is probably willing to move in that direction. What I would like to see before that would be allowing the municipality to have its municipal buildings, its parks, the property that it owns. I'm perfectly fine with them going smoke free. I just have some fundamental issues with government telling people what they can and can't do in their private business. I'm not a smoker. I don't care. I tend to stay out of places where there is smoke. But if everybody in town is a non-smoking facility, and I want to open a place where you can come and smoke, then I feel like if it's my property, I should be able to do that. I can see it both ways. I'm still talking to the governor's office on. I think we need to. I'm open to doing something, and I'm willing to probably vote to try to keep the bill going and keep it alive. How it'll be when it hits the floor depends on what language is in there. But it's people will agree and disagree. One of the things that Oklahoma City, the owner of Buffalo Wild Wings, he said, if Oklahoma City passes this ordinance, I can move 3/4 of a mile down the road to 4 acres. And at that point, he said it'll cost me about $500,000, but he said 26% of my business comes from smokers. I'll make it up and nothing flat. So, to me, it's private property issue. So, and I think you're on the other side of that, aren't you?
It's an interesting idea you proposed.
Yeah.
Well, Senator, with all due respect, it's really a big issue with healthcare. I mean, smoking is our number one cause of healthcare issues. So, you know, however we do it, we've got to control smoking somehow. And I don't know, you know, local property rights and things like that. And my understanding is that it is now
Make it illegal.
It now is worded to go both ways, as you suggested. So, you know, maybe we can get your support on that. So, that's my vote.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you've got something that's legal, that I mean, we could also argue that alcohol is, you know, drunk driving is a major cause, so we could get rid of that. But you're right. I mean, it's a huge issue, and you know, getting people to move in the direction of, you know, not smoking would do a tremendous amount of getting our state back to where we're respective. Anyway, I think we're number 48 or something as far as healthcare. So, you know, we're starting to make some advances, and I understand your point. I really get it. It's not that I want to go smoke wherever I go. That's not it at all. I just think if we're going to go local control, we need to do local control, and if we're not, then. But I think that the language that will be in the bill on Monday will be through local control.